used to be called the suspect. I did not know this alcoholic. Hi, my name's Leanne, and I'm an alcoholic. Hi. I found Alcoholics Anonymous through CPS. I lost custody of my daughter from drinking. I went through inpatient at sundown, and I was told to get a sponsor right away, which I did. I was desperate. I had a lot of anger. I was very angry. My ex-husband had molested our daughter. And walking through that was like an ocean. It was heavy. It was dark. It was cold. And I was very alone. It wasn't until I did that ninth step, and thank God that my sponsor had me do that with him. It wasn't until I did that ninth step with him that I literally saw God part the waters as he did for Moses for me. I was able to walk with clarity without heaviness, and I actually had a joy for life that I'd never had before. I still turned around and pooped all over AA and went back out again. I really thought that, this alcoholic who couldn't stop drinking while she was pregnant could do it again. I lived in that misery for about 15 years until my husband was diagnosed with liver disease from alcoholism. One of our marriage vows was that we would never ask each other to quit drinking. When I met him, I had found the answer to my prayer. Someone who drinks like me, someone who smokes like me, someone that is just like me. We got to be careful about what we pray for. I know I wasn't going to quit. I wasn't. He had asked me for a year and a half recently to quit drinking, and he even threatened to leave. It wasn't until one day I woke up and God gave me that clarity and said, today's your day. And I said, okay. And I knew at that moment I had to get myself to the Limited Lawnmower Club where I had sobered up the first time. I kept going back to the place where it was, and it wasn't there. And GPS kept sending me back to Chuck E. Cheese. And so the third time I didn't find it, I said, God, I know you're there. I know you're real. Help me. And he said, go back to Chuck E. Cheese. And I was like, okay, just because you said it. So I went back there, and sure enough, there was Malcolm with his motorcycle, and I knew I was in the right place. He said, I had missed the meeting by that point, and I said, I'm desperate. And he said, you were here before. Where's your sponsor? I was like, oh, thank God. So I reached out to my first sponsor, and she's helped me. I am 4 months sober today. Thank you. I still struggle with the idea that someone with 30-some years, 20-some years would ever want to hear from someone like me. I'm very close to that starting point. So what I've heard is that when you have a long time sobriety, you forget. And so I'm here to remind you that it is real. It is still there, and it is still waiting for me. And I feel like this prowling lion is close. And the only way to keep him at bay, to keep my alcoholism at bay, is to contact regularly with my sponsor, and to have service. Position is a main thing. My home group is Gunny Stack Hill, and sticking with other women in this group has saved my life. Last week, as I was putting the dishes away, I found a flask that wasn't hidden. It was just sitting right there. And I jumped back. And I was just like, God, keep me sober today. Keep me sober. What do I do? And he said, call Sadie. Okay. So I called Sadie, and she said, I'll be right there. And that's what we do. She was there for me. And I was able to check it. There was nothing in there, and got my ass to a meeting. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this. And they were like, throw it away. And I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, because alcoholics, we don't throw anything away. So that's new. I'm throwing away more things that I find now. I don't jump back anymore when I find that stuff hidden in my house. When I was about a month and a half sober, I started to feel uncomfortable at home with my relationship. He's he was not going to meetings, so he was a dry drunk, and I had to go to meetings. Very uncomfortable. Why do you have to go to meetings? What's wrong with you? Aren't you strong enough? Obviously, you're just not as strong as me. You're obviously weak. I've learned that I would rather be in meetings than killing the people slowly around me, which is what I do. I never worried about dying from alcoholism. I worried about other people dying from my alcoholism. I was worried that I would literally kill somebody. And today I don't feel that way, which is a miracle. So I prayed and I made the announcement, when I shared that my husband is dying from this disease, literally because he will not get himself into a meeting to get on the transplant list. And I'm happy to say today that he is. That being said, like I started to say 2 months ago, my son came to me and said, I want to run away. And I said, honey, I think I know why. And you don't have to worry because this home is more yours than his. And I am more here for you than for him. And I will always pick you over anyone. And so that day I had to make a very hard choice in sobriety to ask him to leave. And so today I'm learning how to be alone for the first time in 15 years, which can be very, very difficult because I confuse being alone with loneliness, and it is not the same. I'm enjoying my alone time more now because I'm finding out who Leanne is in sobriety, because that is not the same person that I was ever. I actually care about you guys. I care about what you think, and I never cared. My famous saying while I was drinking was, sorry about your luck. And today I don't feel that way. I am learning how to set up boundaries and keep those boundaries. And I am meeting with my sponsor every week. We're going through the book and highlighting a lot. And I'm about getting ready to do the 3rd step prayer. My 4th step, I have a list of people that keeps growing. I didn't think I hurt anybody. I thought I was at home drinking. I wasn't really a partier. But come to find out, the longer I stay sober, the more my son is showing me what I've done to him. And today, instead of living in that misery and that guilt, I have a special person that I can go to and tell her, this is what I did and this is what's happening. And today, she tells me this is what you get to do to make that amends, to make your family right. My parents call, they're 82, 83. And I never used to answer their call. They're very religious. They're Trump supporters. I don't want to spend time in that. I don't want to help them. Today, that's not the case. Very unusual because I didn't want to. They're old. Why would I want to? So, yeah, when my dad calls and says I need help with this or that, I'm excited to actually go over there and help and to be of service to my family. Which is very, very different. I stopped dropping things. I can actually hold things up now. I'm not making noises when I sit in meetings. I don't have to stand up in the back. I can literally sit still without jittering and moving around, and I can actually hear the words that are coming out of people's mouth. My brain is not 100%. I can feel it. It's foggy. It's not okay. And even with that, I still step forward, and I'm becoming more brave, and I have more courage and clarity to live my life with the intention that God has designed for me. My God is like that big sailboat, and it's huge, and he's that mast, and without that mast to hold those sails out, I'm not going nowhere, and that's where I was for a long time, sitting there in these storms, just comfortable with my misery, just okay. Well, this is my life. This is what I get, and today that's not the case. I see things for what they truly are now. I'm not wearing those dark shaded glasses anymore. That mast is firm, and God is pulling and directing and guiding me. And what I learned about sailboats is my friend said my boat is 12,000 pounds, but 9,000 of those pounds is that hole underneath, right? And so when you see that boat and that mast is like all the way down, the wind is just blowing it down, and you're like, God, this just can't be right. This can't be right in the storm. This is not the right path. How can you take me here? You know, and when that storm is over and that mast just comes right back up, he said that 12,000 pounds will make it so that when that wind stops, it'll just whoop right up, you know? And that's how I feel that my God is for me today. He is that mast on my sailboat. And it may seem crazy that there's no way I could be here. I'm not here for a slip. I'm not here for CPS. I'm not here for that. What I came here for was just to get a couple months of sobriety, and then I was going to leave because that's what my husband said. I just need to just dry up for a couple of months. It'll be fine. So I was like, okay, I'll just be here for a couple of months. It'll be fine. And it was really hard those first couple of days. I didn't think I was going to make it. I was white knuckling in it. And how I told myself, what I tricked myself was, I'm just not going to drink until the next meeting. Right? I can make it to the next meeting. And that pulled me through. It pulled me through. If I didn't have this, I'd be in jail for sure, for sure. And I came those first couple of weeks, people said I looked really scary and they didn't want to talk to me. And today that's not the case. I walk with my head held high and I sleep well. I don't have regrets that I know that I can't make right. I know that God didn't bring me this far to drop me on my ass. And I know that today he is stronger because that sunlight is shining through and I can see that plan that he has for me today. Whereas before I knew I was alone in my own misery. And today that strength has come from the big book, AA, and my sponsor. And without those, life would be very dark and I would keep drinking. And I got up to about a fifth and a half a day of vodka, and to think about going any time without it was unheard of. My son said to me when he turned 15, he said, Mom, you must know that you're not allowed to drive with alcohol in your car. And those were one of those moments where I was like, okay, yeah, he's starting to see those things, and I'm starting to tell him things that this is not normal. This isn't how it should have been, he's got a lot of questions, and when I don't have answers, I have a place to go to today. And my sponsor is helping me raise my son because there's so many things I don't think of. When he's going out, did you get the parents' names? The what? The other parents, did you get their names? Did you get their phone number? No. Oh, you have to do that, man. These are things that you need to do. So my life today and my future is so much brighter because I made that choice to listen to God that day, May 5th on 2025, that I don't need to drink, that I just need to find AA and I'll be okay. And he was right. He was right. I'm glad to be back here, and I hope I don't ever poop on AA ever again. Yeah. Thank you, guys. That's all I got.